When Silent Hill first came out, I think a lot of people expected it to be some kind of cheap imitation of Resident Evil. Those games being as successful as they were, I think it became pretty clear that survival horror was here to stay. But while most of the imitators are largely forgotten about, Silent Hill, despite, Konami doing Konami things, maintained a legacy that's lasted nearly 20 years. What made Silent Hill so different was that it took a vaguer, more supernatural and atmospheric approach to horror. It left a lot to the imagination, and this vagueness led to a lot of discussion and fan theories, and not just, the lame kinds of fan theories you usually hear for everything about how all the main characters are really dead, or, every character is secretly Jesus. Those kinds of theories for Silent Hill do exist, but they exist for basically everything. Meanwhile, Silent Hill is also host to a lot more complex theories. Like the idea that Silent Hill is the nexus point for a bunch of different parallel dimensions. Or that Pyramid Head is actually the good guy. Or how about the theory that Walter Sullivan, the main antagonist from Silent Hill 4, who first was mentioned in Silent Hill 2 as a serial killer, fell into his villainous ways because, as a child, he was circumcised. Now, the circumcision theory, first posited by the Silent Hill wiki, is not one of the more widely accepted theories about the game, but it is certainly the most infamous. Find out why on this episode of Tales from the Internet. This episode is sponsored by my own damn merch store, where I've got a brand new design up where I've got tentacles. It's cool, buy it.
Oscar Mayer wieners are all meat.
I'm gonna be honest, I kinda hate fan theories. Most video game fan theories are usually just these massive reaches that it sounds like something that came from people who had their brains ruined by high school English class. They're usually pretty ridiculous, but every once in a while you'll come across a theory that's just so outlandish that you just gotta take a step back and appreciate it. Enter the Silent Hill circumcision theory. It was first posited on the Silent Hill wiki in December of 2015 by a user named AlexShepherd. Possible circumcision victim. Judging by a visit in St. Jerome's Hospital, it is also possible Walter had his genitals, in parentheses penis, mutilated as a baby via circumcision, also known as male genital mutilation. There are some who theorize and compare circumcision to a dark, ancient, satanic/occult mutilation blood flesh ritual, as well as being connected to the Illuminati, which could have led to Walter's psyche becoming influenced by the occult of the order. And when boys become circumcised, it acts a covenant to the dark forces on the planet and enters a pact with Satan. They also believe it is disguised as a necessary medical practice, and some doctors are satanic/Illuminati puppets. Others believe that circumcision can harm the bond between mother and son, and a man's ability to love and bond with a woman. Circumcision can have an extreme influence on the psyche and have negative effects on the development of the human psyche because a baby's brain is extremely affectable, vulnerable, and susceptible to pain. Circumcision can scar a baby for life into adulthood and harm the healthy development of male sexuality. Circumcision can cause permanent brain damage, permanent psychological damage, psychological/brain rewiring, mental illness leading to depression and suicide, trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, long-term aggravated response to pain. It was once thought that male genital mutilation would have beneficial properties by early 20th century doctors. Beginning the 21st century, circumcision, when performed for unnecessary non-medical reasons, is now regarded by some as a form of child abuse and a violation of human rights. As a result, circumcision is now a controversial and serious issue, with some believing that their government should be more supportive of victims of involuntary male genital mutilation, whether through more recognition or through monetary compensation. On second thought, maybe I will take my circumcision reparations. The article, once again about Walter Sullivan from the video game Silent Hill, goes on to editorialize a bit about circumcision in America. Somehow, through an insane amount of sheer ignorance, stupidity, lack of common sense, and decades of Americans being severely brainwashed, circumcision was carried over to the 20th and early 21st century North America. It took North Americans hundreds of years to realize that mutilating babies' genitals without their consent wasn't such a good idea after all. Then again, it also took Americans time to stop killing Native Americans, witch burning, discriminating non-Christians, the non-religious and non-believers, slavery, racism and lynching, female oppression, and LGBT oppression. So issues like male genital mutilation, animal holocaust genocide in slaughterhouses, mass fluoridation of drinking water, trigger-happy police brutality, wage slavery, and wealth inequality would also take time. Remember, once again, that this is a wiki article about a character from Silent Hill 4, a game that contains absolutely no overt references to circumcision. It's just a theory. But yeah, I don't think MatPat's touching this one with an uncut 10-foot pole. But in the absence of any overt references to circumcision, the author of the edits provided these examples of possible circumcision symbolism. Many things in the Nightmare Hospital could be interpreted as horrific and traumatic circumcision metaphors and symbols, and a result of a barbaric, torturous, and inhumane procedure which should be banned and illegal worldwide. Bloody forceps on a stretcher. Possible phallic/penis symbolism. Possible anesthesia symbolism, syringes, needles, and bills and meat, and bloody rags. Possible foreskin symbolism. That is a big-ass foreskin. Jesus Christ. It's basically the same size as Henry, a figure restrained, much like how babies must be restrained. There is also a possibility that the greedy worm monster has phallic symbolism and may be symbolic of a circumcised mutilated penis. The greedy worm monster appears throughout many of the worlds in the game, and it may be symbolic of a monstrous circumcised mutilated penis searching for its missing foreskin, and the despair and horror of never being able to find and retrieve it. In other words, a man who feels violated and incomplete. So essentially, this guy thinks that this game, which once again has no overt references to foreskin, has an entire monster dedicated to this quest that's like, give me back my foreskin. It's like that guy from Crip Show that's like, I want my cake, but his cake is his foreskin. In fact, now that I think about that, that might actually improve the game. And at this point, it's worth noting that the article with these edits contains more text editorializing about circumcision than it does about Walter's actual activities in the game. So obviously, other people did not share AlexShepherd's foreskin fixation, and they got into a little bit of an edit war on the wiki. You can't delete something because you don't like the truth. This has nothing to do with Silent Hill? Yes, it does. You are blatantly removing the effects of circumcision on the psyche, which is a core aspect of personality, and the fact that there is no compensation for circumcision victims/survivors is an injustice, and that's what Silent Hill is. More weird and unnecessary political commentary that isn't related to the character. Because people need understanding of Walter's circumstances. Seriously, stop trying to remove history. And at the same time, there is also a war being waged on the talk page. Edits RE male genital mutilation. I don't quite remember the game being a lunatic anti-male genital mutilation rant, so I figured the article should probably be the same way and removed such. Even if that section is found to be worth keeping, if reinstated, it should probably do more than pay lip service to Sullivan's mental state rather than being some unhinged polemic. You're a fucking horrible human being for advocating genital mutilation, and 99% of Americans who advocate mutilating penises are fucking brainwashed morons. Circumcision can have a huge effect and huge influence on the development of a human being's psyche. It's the truth. What you are trying to do is erase American history and hide the truth. Seriously, don't be on the wrong side of history. It's like trying to delete the Holocaust article on Wikipedia saying it's some anti-Holocaust or anti-Nazi rant. That's how brainwashed you sound. Nobody is advocating genital mutilation. I'm against circumcision myself, but a lot of that section is entirely irrelevant to Silent Hill. After describing the evidence that shows Walter might have been circumcised, there's no need to include completely irrelevant information about how barbaric American doctors were. That's stuff belonging on websites dedicated to that topic, not a Silent Hill wiki. You are so deluded. Silent Hill is all about exposing the atrocities of America. That's the entire purpose of it. It is a fact and truth that circumcision damages the male psyche and is part of a brainwashing dark ritual. And no, I won't remove it. Forced circumcision should be banned, and the American government, or Illuminati at this rate, should actually acknowledge it because it's an injustice to Americans. It also helps give backstory and understanding of male genital mutilation in America. People need to wake the fuck up and realize what's happening to humanity. Things came to a head on December 15th when the issue was brought to the Wiki's forum. Circumcision. What's with the America-bashing tirade against circumcision? Not exactly appropriate for a character profile. And now, a lot of the posts that were a part of the thread have since been deleting, but a lengthy response from AlexShepherd remains at the top. I already explained myself. Everyone should be anti-genital mutilation. The wiki article is unbiased and factual, and if you can't see why, you are completely brainwashed. And even if the wiki article is biased towards not mutilating children's genitals, good. 1. Male genital mutilation is a huge and serious human rights issue. It's not as simple as snip snip. If you believe that, you are brainwashed and desensitized. You are mutilating a baby's body. It is sick and barbaric child abuse and torture. If you support mutilating babies' genitals for unnecessary reasons, or ambivalent to it, you are brainwashed and a horrible human being. 2. Male genital mutilation can have a huge influence on the development of the human psyche, and if you believe otherwise, you are brainwashed. Studies have proven mental illness is linked to trauma as a baby. The fact alone is extremely noteworthy and can pave the way for the development of personality, which is why it should be listed near the top of Walter's article. It is heavily implied Walter had his penis mutilated as a baby. Almost everything in Silent Hill is symbolic, and the fact that you can find human skin, anesthesia in the skin, bloody forceps, restrained child/baby figures, etc. is likely not a coincidence. Not to mention, Walter was an American back in the 1960s, when the vile practice was extremely popular and at its heyday. Even then, the article does not say Walter had his genitals mutilated as a fact. It only suggests a possibility. This is the way this wikia has been. Possibilities and speculation are allowed as long as there is sufficient evidence for it. Silent Hill is all about the injustices of America. It's literally what the entire series is about. There is nothing wrong with going a little into detail about the history surrounding male genital mutilation in America. 5. This injustice is still an injustice because moronic people are still completely brainwashed about the truth of mutilating genitals and its effects. And there is, again, no compensation for male genital mutilation survivors and victims. Also, this is a wikia, not a Wikipedia. He then followed it up with another post about his sources and his credentials as a gamer. If there was a top 10 list of the best Silent Hill fans in the world, I would probably be in the 1 to 5 spot. I grew up with Silent Hill as a child, so I could see certain things in the games which other players will not. And then he added this edit to his original post. And lol at me being removed as an admin by a random non-IP user. You all realize this entire site is essentially mine, right? I am the top admin/bureaucrat of this site and have been for years. I have 40k edits on this site and the next admin has 13k. Yup, this wasn't a mere troll or some circumcision guy that just happened upon the wiki. AlexShepherd was one of the admins of the whole fucking site, and he would soon flex his administrative muscles by editing the original post in the thread from circumcision to mutilating babies' penises. An edit that he would frequently make to other posts in the thread. Ironically, a number of posts agreed with his stance on circumcision except for the fact that it has absolutely nothing to do with Silent Hill. No one disagrees that genital mutilation is a problem. However, the many paragraphs discussing the possible role of genital mutilation in Walter's profile seems out of place. This information could be included as a theory. The profile should not be used as an opportunity to argue for your view on genital mutilation, regardless of how much evidence you have to support your view. While botched circumcision is certainly one theory for Walter's childhood trauma, I'm not seeing any actual sources or citations for this theory. What from the source material, additional resources, books, interviews, etc. hints at this specific theory? Some who theorize are vague weasel words that essentially render the entire section untrustworthy. I can put, there are some who theorize Pyramid Head represents the Egyptian origin of the order, and hide behind the same weasel words without a shred of evidence. So, to get back to the original topic, how do you justify twisting things like Silent Hill 4, which is rife with womb and birth imagery, as that's an important theme in the game, to be all about male genital mutilation, which is all about the dick? I didn't make it all about male genital mutilation. It's only mentioned on like 1 to 5 articles, and this wiki has over 2,000. Just 1 to 5 articles. Oh yeah, there were more circumcision-related theories out there in the wild of this wiki, including AlexShepherd's namesake, the character AlexShepherd from Silent Hill Homecoming. There is a popular theory in the Silent Hill fandom that Alex is secretly gay. The schism maybe symbolized repressed homosexuality. The schism's head is phallic, and this, mixed with gynophobia theory, could be a symbol of Alex's divided feelings towards homosexuality and heterosexuality. Most men, and humans, are right-handed and masturbate with their right arm/hand. The fact that the left arm is normal and human-like, and the right arm is twisted and claw-like may represent Alex's guilt for masturbating to men. This may be why the monster has a box-like genitalia. It is being punished for its homosexuality by being unable to masturbate to men with a twisted arm as punishment. There is also a possibility that the schism is a circumcision, see male genital mutilation, metaphor, see also Walter Sullivan, and it is possible Alex was circumcised at birth resulting in trauma. Circumcision has negative side effects and can result in a damaged and traumatized psyche. This would explain the schism's missing genitals and the bloody slit in its phallic and blade-like head. And although people in this thread were mostly concerned about the fact that none of this had anything to really do with Silent Hill, there were those who disputed his sources. Particularly his use of psychology today as a source as opposed to, any studies or anything like that. To which he responded that the studies were compromised by the Satanists and the Illuminati. He would also get into an argument with the other admins, saying that because they're women they wouldn't understand. I'm not ruining the entire wiki. You are just biased due to societal brainwashing. Again, a lot of you don't care because you are being brainwashed. Alessa Gillespie, Enjoyable Ari, Miss Garland, Kemi Rowe, you are all female, and probably don't care about boys/men having their genitals mutilated because it doesn't benefit you. It's something you can't see. A perspective from a male who regrets their genitals being mutilated at birth because of bullshit. If you had your vagina sewn shut or mutilated, and this was a female character like Claudia Wolf for example, I'm sure you would have different feelings. And from that point, he would go on to demand to know if one of these users had their son circumcised. Enjoyable Ari wrote, "Do not even try to tell me I don't care considering I have a son. And don't throw in the whole you're just female so you can't possibly understand. Yes, I am going there. Did you mutilate his genitals too? Simply giving birth to a male isn't enough perspective. There are many mothers who regret mutilating their boys' genitals." What the fuck, Alex, really? Really? You've lost your fucking mind. Did you allow him to be mutilated, yes or no? A particularly interesting line of inquiry was opened when a user named Beepusmaster asked this question. Could I ask the poster whether he believes the Silent Hill series depicts any of the other things he's talked about? Satanism, Illuminati, Satanic Illuminati foreskin harvest, symbolically? If so, are the devs privy to hidden knowledge and trying to alert the public at large? Through this line of questioning, it was revealed that AlexShepherd not only believed that for some reason the Japanese developers of Silent Hill decided to make a political statement about circumcision in America, he thought that they were working with some divine knowledge to wake up the world. Yes, I believe art is created to affect humans. Silent Hill is a collective effort of hundreds and hundreds of developers for humanity to wake itself up and realize the danger it is in. Where do you believe the developers received this information? From itself. Humanity can subconsciously deliver messages to itself, maybe through dreams, ideas, thoughts. Maybe we were once spiritual beings, one collective consciousness, and we're divided. Maybe we once had the ability to communicate telepathically, and we lost this innate ability because we are so separated now. Separated by borders, languages, greed, money, classism, racism, pride, egos. Maybe we once had prophetic abilities to warn ourselves of dangers and see the future. If we look at Silent Hill as an example, maybe this is what Alessa Gillespie had. Everything is connected, like a ripple, a butterfly effect, like a spiritual awakening, maybe. I can't say for certainty. Seriously, what I find disturbing is humans are actually mocking me for trying to advocate not mutilating and torturing babies. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Why do you think this is okay? It's not. Is Silent Hill unique in this regard? Do you believe there are any other video game franchises which communicate truth in this way? A lot of the game wikis I edit are similar. I highly recommend checking out Xenosaga, Xenogears, Zero Escape, Parasite Eve, Persona series. Wouldn't say Silent Hill is unique, but it's definitely the most blatant and obvious wake-up call for Americans in the 21st century. And as you might have guessed, such edits also appeared in these wikis that Alex edited. Although some people had noticed these weird edits on these wikis before, the full scope of it wasn't known until Voidburger, a user on Twitter, brought this to light. She curated a massive thread of all of the funnier things from this Meltdown, which eventually went viral and spread to publications such as Rely on Horror, Bloody Disgusting, and New York Magazine. Realizing his newfound fame, AlexShepherd took this moment to unleash his manifesto on the world. So I just realized, I became kinda famous tonight on Twitter, ha 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 ha. America needs to wake the hell up, I'm totally serious. Over 90% of Americans are brainwashed sheeple. Who is really controlling the world? Who are people working for? Do you believe in some deity, some god, or is it all a fantasy? I am absolutely convinced there's something sick and wrong on this planet, and something sick and wrong with humanity. Do people really have absolute faith in the government, authority? How do we know it's not the Illuminati, or some satanic dark agenda? When you really think about it, humanity is just slaves to bills, money, greed, sex, dark forces, etc. Call me crazy. I don't care. I think I'm one of the few human beings on this planet with some actual fucking common sense. I refuse to let any more foreskins be mutilated, and have any more babies on this planet subjected to this dark, barbaric, Satanist Illuminati agenda. I seek the truth. And I feel like I need to keep on stating this to put things back in perspective, but remember, this is all a discussion about edits on a wiki for Silent Hill 4. From this point, he would go on even more of a power trip, blocking people for insulting him. You screamed at a mother demanding she tell you whether her child got snipped, you fucking toilet sponge. I blocked you due to intimidating behavior / harassment, calling me a fucking toilet sponge. That is clearly unacceptable, and I already said such comments will not be tolerated. And he would also go on to try and change the permissions of the other administrators. Ultimately, the other administrators had had enough, and they took both the edits and Alex's status to votes. Enough, folks. I'm getting tagged left and right on Facebook by concerned members of the fanbase who are watching this wiki unravel. The behavior I have seen on this thread is absolutely unacceptable. All further comments involving conspiracy theories, offensive anti-American rhetoric, insults, or anything other than remarks about the article itself will be deleted. Now, since there is a differing of opinions, we will decide on the matter by a vote. Because it's easy to simply switch IP addresses, all votes must come from registered users to be considered. The question is, do you want to keep the circumcision section in Walter Sullivan's page? Vote yay or nay. I vote nay. I see no real evidence that he was circumcised, and much of the writing in the section, almost all of it in fact, steers well into personal, political, and moral opinion, as well as an uncalled for amount of America bashing and conspiracy theories. This has led to many longtime readers leaving the wiki and has even received derision from both Tom Hewlett and Jeremy Blaustein. I have not spoken to a single person who is okay with the article as it is. I feel it must be fixed immediately before more damage can be done to the wiki's reputation. The section is absolutely not fit for a wiki, IMO. Wiki vote for AlexShepherd. Due to recent events, there is some question as to the status of user AlexShepherd on this wiki. Users have expressed their concerns regarding his role as admin, concerns which are shared by this wiki's administration. In light of this, we have elected to call a vote as to whether AlexShepherd should be allowed to remain a bureaucrat/admin on the Silent Hill wiki. You might have guessed it, but the community voted against keeping the edits. And ultimately, not only would AlexShepherd be stripped of all of his admin privileges on the Silent Hill wiki, but he would receive a temporary ban across all of Wikia. But as documented by a Twitter user named Gorgon Sophia, he would return 2 years later, this time to the Xenosaga wiki. It was in this wiki which he began to present arguments about bestiality and defenses of non-offending pedophiles. Yep, our boy was a no-map before no-maps called themselves no-maps. Are you really that surprised? He was swiftly banned from the Xenosaga wiki, and then he turned to the Megami Tensei wiki, which he was also banned from. As far as I can tell, this was the last known attempt by AlexShepherd to proselytize on a video game wiki. But something tells me he'll be back, so keep your eyes out. At this point, all mentions of circumcision have been expunged from the Silent Hill wiki, and according to the edit history, it was all moved to another page called Walter 44 Skin Sullivan, and the main article was remade from the ground up. The top of the now infamous thread reads, "This situation is over with and shouldn't be brought up anymore because Silent Hill has so many great things about it and this isn't one of them. What's your favorite SH song? Who's your favorite character? What part made you super on edge? Do you find Pyramid Head sexy? These are the real questions you should be bringing up." Well, I'm sorry for bringing it back up, but I had to. Anyway, if you like this video, you'll probably also like my video about the mystery behind Harry Mason's voice actor. I'm out of here.